Hi there folks, and welcome to another episode. I picked up something the other day that just was on the edge of ridiculous, so I had to have it. You guys may have seen the little, I call it the little 9-inch barreled Heritage 22 or 22 Magnum revolver. Well, I was online looking at some things and I saw this guy. Another revolver, but with a 16-inch frickin' barrel on it, right? That's ridiculous, but I had to have it. Now what we're going to be demonstrating today is we're going to shoot this thing, and if it's like my other one was, just using the iron sight, shot to the left about 5 inches, very consistently, but to the left. And with these fixed sights, there's really nothing you can do about it. Unless you add some sort of red dot sight. And then once you put a red dot sight on it, it becomes a tack driver, which I was very pleased. We're going to see how this brand new one, never been shot before, how it performs. And if it does the same thing, I'm going to go through how I drill and tap and mount a Weaver mount on there so I can put a red dot on it. Now, a disclaimer, don't do this at home. I'm not a professional, and I'm telling you right here now, don't do this. If you do it, it's your own fault. Anyway, let's sit here, we're going to bench rest this thing, and we're going to shoot 6 rounds into a target at 20 yards that I have sitting up down here. And we're going to see how it groups and how well the iron sights function. Let's do that right now. So I'm going to have my son sit here. He's a pretty good shooter. He's got a steady hand, and we're using a bag rest like I said, but we're going to go ahead and send 6 of them down range, and then we'll walk down there and see how they're grouping. Alrighty, that's 6 rounds. Now what we're shooting out of this right now, folks, what I've had good luck with is these CCI standard velocity 22 long rifles. They're lead round nose. They're 40 grain, rated at 1,070 feet per second, it says on the box. Let's go down and take a look at how it did. Well, that ain't too bad at all. It's not a bad group. I've seen better groups, but we'll shoot it a few more times, see how she settles in there. But a little high on the sight picture we normally like to use when we're shooting handguns and whatnot, but not a bad group overall. Let's hang another. Let's do something fun. I'm going to show you what I got, folks. You'll like this. Since that's shooting so well right out of the gate, I got a steel target hanging up right there. It's about 50 to 52 yards away from where we're shooting at. Let's back all the way up there and see if we can make that steel target ring with that handgun, because it looks like at that distance we'll be able to put it right on it. I got to give that a try. Let's see if we can make it happen with the red dot at 50 yards with the little 9-inch barrel. Now this is only sighted in at 10 yards. That hit it. It hit. Now I'm putting my red dot right on the bottom of that target. Well, that's not bad. It's 3 for 3. All right, I just shot the 9-inch with the red dot, hit that steel 6 out of 6 times off a bag, of course. So that's at 50 yards. That's not bad at all. Now my son's going to shoot the 16-inch barrel iron sight that we saw put an okay group on the 20-yard target. We'll see if it dings the 50. I heard it. He hit it. I couldn't tell on that one.
I heard it.
You heard it? Okay. There you go. I saw it flicker. Now what I've got down there, folks, is a piece of 3/8 AR 500 target plate hanging up there by a couple of pieces of chain. So this little 22 bullet's not going to rock its world too hard, obviously. There you go. Is there a reason to put a red dot on that one? That ain't bad at all.
It doesn't hurt that it's a 16-inch.
It helps that it's an actual rifle. Well, folks, that's a fun little gun to shoot. Little long gun to shoot. We were hitting very consistently off the bag, obviously. The steel target at 50, I think it's 52-ish yards from here. Very consistently. But the only problem I have with this gun is this rear sight picture. It's just a cutout trough or more of a cast trough, whatever the casting is in the aluminum, which is not good for getting a good clean sight picture for me. I can focus really good up here. This is really fuzzy, and depending on the light you have outside as to what kind of sight picture you get back here. And I'm left and right probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches wiggle left and right just for me. But I put a red dot on here, and this thing becomes laser sharp. So I wasn't going to put a red dot on here, but the more I think about it, I think I'm going to do it. So I'm going to show you how I drill and tap this and put a weaver mount on it and put a red dot styled scope or red dot style sight onto this handgun. So we'll jump into that right now. All right, folks, we're back indoors now, and I've disassembled the gun. Obviously, this doesn't take much to disassemble this revolver because you take one screw out here, and it takes the grips off, and you just roll your cylinder out just like you do. You pull your pin and roll your cylinder out of there, and you got it down to where you're going to be able to do a little bit of work on it. The reason I want to do this thing shoots very well. The iron sights seem to do okay, but if you're old like me, they don't work as well as I'd like them to work for me because the rear sight's so blurry, and I'll show you what I mean. It's probably hard to see or get a sight picture on it even on the camera. This little trough back here that's cast into the gun itself, it's just too fuzzy. You get a good clear sight on this front sight, but this back here is fuzzy. And going left and right of it is so wide that it's hard to, it's easy for me to wander myself, go left and right with it. Typically, most people wouldn't care. I care a little bit. Now, what I have here is these are, they're called Rascal, Weaver style Rascal mounts. I believe they're for a Savage Rascal rifle, and you usually get a pair of them in a package for anywhere from $14 to $18 a pair. They come with 4 little screws. These screws are number 6 by 48 screw. There's a 648 is the thread on it. This is the tap you can buy, and this is the drill you can buy. Tap drill and tap that you can buy to thread this handgun to hold that screw. Now, I'll have links for all this down in the description where you can buy these, where you can buy your tap and your drill. And I'll also give you the size of this particular Allen wrench that fits this perfectly, and any other tools we use in this video other than my drill press. So I'm going to show you how I set this up and what I do to drill and tap this top frame in order to hold one of these Weaver style mounts. The other one you don't need, but if you get another gun, you're already ready to put a red dot on that. What I'm going to put on here is a red dot TRS 25. My other gun, I put a True Glow. That seems to work pretty good. It's a bigger optic on it. This has a nice fine dot on it. I have this on my 9-inch version of this gun, and it does a really good job. There again, I can sit there and hit something with it at 50 yards reliably, which is actually pretty cool. So let me show you how I set this up on my drill press and what I do to get this part drilled and tapped accurately. Now, here again, my disclaimer is I don't recommend anybody doing this. The gun manufacturer doesn't have holes already drilled and tapped in here, and I have no idea what it really does to the integrity of the gun. I did see on one video where a gunsmith did drill and tap into this. But we're also dealing with 22 and 22 mag, so we're dealing with very small or low pressures. Obviously the gun would be built a little sturdier if this was to handle a higher caliber bullet. So anyway, let's get busy. I'll show you what I got set up on my drill press and what all the little detailed steps I go through to put this on. And then tomorrow when it's daylight again, we'll sight this in and we'll have some more fun shooting it. Alrighty, what I've done now is I've got a little piece of paper towel between this little jack bolt that I've got underneath there, and you can see everything's floating and loose. And that's for a reason. You can put it, most people would put it in a vise and make it very rigid, and probably I would recommend that. But for the way I do it, the fact that it floats actually works in my favor. So now I've got this level this way, and being that I've already got the thing clamped up square against my angle block here, is squaring the gun this way. Leveling the barrel squares it this way. Now what I'm going to do is fold a little bit of paper towel, and we'll stick it right through here because I want to keep some trash and stuff from getting down in any mechanisms while I'm doing this. That's the easiest way to do it. Now the next important step to do is to put a punch mark in here where I want the sight to be. Now after I drill this, I'll show you where it ends up. And the other reason I use this little rascal is it fits this radius on the old Heritage very well. And straddles this little groove perfectly and all that kind of fun stuff. So now what I want to do is get this about where the hole is just behind where the barrel is going in. You don't want to drill into the barrel or anything like that. I don't anyway. I suppose you could. I'm not going to. So I'm going to be back here just about right there. I'll give you a quick side view of this to kind of show you the location. And I'm going to stick the transfer punch in there also so you can see where that's coming out at. So now from this perspective, you can see where the barrel sticks through a little bit that lines up with your cylinder. And about where I've got this transfer punch lined up, so I'm just behind this right here. This is, I found out to be a pretty decent location to put this. So, and I might come back just a little bit. Now this is just a good eyeball job front to back. And what I'll do is I'll center up my center punch left to right. So right now if I say that this is a good spot right here, let's just go back a little bit more. If I say that's my spot right there, what I'll do is I'll take my little punch on my center punch here, or the transfer punch, and I'll make a little scratch right there. So now I know where I want this first hole to be front to back, and I'll put a little scratch there. Now let's go back to a top view and I'll show you what I do. Okay, now as you can see here, I have this back part supported, clamped solidly between my little angle plate. This is all just floating around on here so I can move it around. It's not a big deal. And I've got this other jack set over here in the location I want it. Now I'll locate my little scratch here, and what I'll do is I'll hold this up and I'll find, look, eyeball this so it's dead center between the peak of these two grooves, or the peak of those two sides there. And if I like what I see, I'll go ahead and put a little dent right there. You don't have to hit it very hard. Just a little place that'll pick up the drill, and the drill will start through straight. So now that I've done that, put the mark on it, we're going to put the right drill in here. Now I'm going to stick my paper towel back in here just to catch all the debris and dirt and everything that's going to happen. I shouldn't say dirt, chips. And I'm going to carefully slide this underneath here. And now you'll probably see a lot of why I don't mind having this thing floating a little bit, because it'll help seek and find its own center. It'll work together with itself. Now the other thing I want you to do and take note of is, as I'm drilling through this, I'm holding down right here. And this is all sitting really solidly in place, held down right here. Because if you don't, and that drill bit, when it starts to break through and grabs, it'll grab and go up and destroy your hole. So it won't hold the tap. So you're going to ease down through this ever so gently. And I'm not using any cutting fluid while I'm doing the drilling, because it's aluminum and you're not running that fast of RPM. If you are, slow your drill down a little bit and you'll be better off. So now that I have my drill bit lined up to where I think it's going to hit center, we'll go ahead and turn it on. And we're going to go for it. This is the nerve-wracking part. Where it wants to grab is right where it starts to break through. So let up on pressure. See, it just broke through there. Let the pressure up. Whoops. Ignore that. That's why I was holding it on top of this jack. Okay, now that we've got the jack, or we've got this drilled, I'm going to go ahead and tap this hole. And the reason I'm going to tap this hole is I'm going to put this mount on it with the screw loosely and transfer punch my second hole. Now here again, this is very critical. I'm just going to use a little WD-40 as some tapping fluid. Any kind of lubricant works pretty good on this aluminum. You don't have to get too carried away. Now what I'm going to do here is hold everything as perpendicular as I can, both this way and front to back where you're lined up. And we're going to run this tap right on down through there. Establish our first set of threads. Now as you see here, I'm grabbing the tap. I'm just doing it like this, 2 fingers, so I'm not torquing on it or anything. And then when I back it out, I'm grabbing here, so I don't want to cut or make this thing cut the threads and make them any more loose than they need to be. Now that we got that tapped, I'll take a little bit of compressed air and I'm just going to kind of blow this clean. Now what you're going to see here is you're only going to get like 2 or 3 threads into this maybe, and it's going to get tight. That's not enough threads because you gotta, normally this is designed with the groove that's on, or the groove that's on the bottom of the sight is going right to a barrel, and you'd gain quite a bit of threads there, right? Well, because this has a groove and it's sitting on top, you're not going to get as many threads, and I'm going to show you how we're going to remedy that in just a minute. And if you fast forwarded past this step, shame on you. You're probably going to screw your stuff up. Now, I've got this tightened down on here. It's sitting, as you can see, I just barely snugged it up. This is sitting very rigidly on there. I'll take my transfer punch through this hole. And you see I'm rotating it as I'm hitting it. That's going to put my detent right where the next drilled hole needs to be. We'll back this off. Now look at that. That's, if we watch this here, that's, I'm going to lift up on this while I'm backing it off. There's a half. Not even a full thread is in there. But I put just enough in there to hold it. That's all it needed. Now I'm going to put a little bit bigger dent in here so I can... You guys might be going, quit beating the crap out of that gun. It'll be all right. All right, now I'm going to slide this back under here. And you can see that dent pretty well in there, I'm hoping. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit. Now hopefully you can see that second little detent that I put in there. This drill bit's going to follow that. Here again, I'm going to stabilize everything with my left hand while I'm drilling with my right hand. I'm going to get it really close to start with so it picks up that starting punch. Now you guys see how that broke through and tried to grab a little bit, and it didn't because I was holding on to it firmly. Now we're going to blow this clean and tap it some more. Tap the next hole. Now some of you folks out there might be going, I could just do that with my DeWalt cordless drill. Try it. Then go buy you another pistol because you probably ruined that one. Send me pictures of what you destroyed using your cordless drill, or prove me wrong. I don't care. I'm just showing you guys how I do it. And this is actually the third one of these I've done, and I've had good success with the other 2. I did a Ruger, and I've done another Heritage, and this is my second Heritage I'm doing. You guys do that with that information, what you will. All right, now we have 2 perfectly good threaded holes in this. We're going to go ahead and blow it clean. I'm going to go ahead and take this rag out. We'll put another rag in there. Because now what I want to do is I'm going to spray this down with some brake clean degreaser because I want to degrease this, because what we're going to do when we assemble it is put some blue Loctite in there. And I want it to be grease-free, 100% grease-free. Brake Clean does a fantastic job of just removing the grease. Now that's ready to receive a mount.
There you go.
So I wanted to show you this part of it that we got to modify. This is your screw that comes with this mount. And you can see how far it sticks through. Now, typically that's probably just enough thread if you're going into a steel barrel on a little Savage rifle, which these are designed for, I believe. Well, it's not quite enough to bridge the gap that's created between this arch going this way and the groove that's cut in the top of those, on top of the pistol. That just barely gets, like I showed you, a 3/4 of a thread. I'm going to show you how to make this bolt a little longer. Let's call it my version of the bolt stretcher. In this part, there's plenty of meat down in here on this counterbore. What I'm going to do is take a drill bit that fits this, and I'm going to take this counterbore down deeper so I get more bolts sticking out. And I'll do one, and I'll show you the before and after of what a difference it'll make. Okay, now what I've done is I've got my currently a 7/32 drill bit in here. It's a little bit bigger than the start hole on this, but not by much. So I'm going to take, and I've also set the stop on my drill press so it won't go all the way through. Now when it comes to the depth, you guys might want to sneak up on it. I think that'll work just fine right there. I would give you a number, but I don't know what it is. All right, let's see if I can do this without destroying it. So what I've got here, the reason I have my clamp here is to keep this thing from rotating and spinning on me too easy. And I'm going to use this part of my Allen wrench here, rubber, and I'm going to push down really, really hard right here to hold this thing from sucking it up. All right, let's see how we do here. Going for broke. I'm holding down really firmly, and I'm going to feed into it so gently it's not even funny. It is just aluminum, so it shouldn't take a lot of pressure to do what we're doing here. And I'm just going to go down until I hit my stop. Now you can see why I have it trapped like I do. Because it can very easily grab and get away from you. All right, we drilled one. And you see the other side over here is a lot shorter. But this is the one I deepened up. Now I'm going to have plenty of thread down into my gun. Where this one was a 3/4 of a thread, we'll count the number of threads we're in here with this one. Okay, we've got it down there just snug. It's not sticking through at all, which is perfectly okay, is what you want. So let's just count how many turns I have here now before it comes loose. I'm trying to hold this all. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, oops, 5. Now we got 5 full threads of engagement versus 3/4. That doesn't seem like a lot, but that will be enough. All right, now the screws. I want to make sure there's all kinds of, make sure any of the processing or lubricants that may be on it from the factory or whatever are removed. There's one. And what I'm using here is brake cleaner. And if you think your screws are clean enough, you look at the black that comes off of there, you'd be absolutely wrong. All right, now that we have, this part's clean because we just drilled it, we don't have to worry about it obviously. It's time to install the sight onto your gun. What you want to use is some blue Loctite, not red, not green, but blue. Blue is a serviceable Loctite. It's a very good hold, but it won't require heat to remove when it comes time to take this off, or if you decide to take it off. So what I'm going to do is put a little blue Loctite right up on top here. And I'm pretty generous with it myself. I'll put plenty on here on the threads. Then I'll stick the first one right on just like this. And I'll just get it just where it just bottoms out. Do the same thing to the second one. Because the last thing you want to do is having this in use and have your bolts starting to back out from the vibration or the recoil. Not that these guns have a lot of recoil, but over time they could start to loosen up, and next thing you know, you wonder why you can't hit anything. Once I get them bottomed out, you want to be very careful. This is just aluminum, and just give it a nice little torque. I can't even just tell you or give you an idea how tight to tighten these. You're just going to have to, I don't know what to tell you. I know what to tell you. Have your gunsmith do this. Don't do this yourself, because I highly don't recommend this. I can't say that enough. Once it's tight, we'll go ahead and wipe up any excess. And there you go. Perfectly solidly installed. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Now let's go ahead and pull out our trophy red dot sight, TRS-25 made by Bushnell. If I can get this to come out. There we go. Bushnell provides an Allen wrench for you, which is very nice and clever of them. Thank you very much, Bushnell. So we'll just back this screw off right here. Doggone Sasquatch hands ain't working for me today. And we'll just hang this right on here and follow your instructions. It's going to tell you, I think, to torque this down to 20 inch-pounds. I don't remember. Read your instructions. If you don't read your instructions and you wreck it, still your fault. There you go. She's good and tight. She's not going anywhere. We're ready to reassemble the pistol and take it to the range. I won't show you putting it back together because you took it apart. You should be able to put it back together. If by some stroke of unluckiness you had this pin fall out and you lost it, that's just too bad. Anyway, there you go. That's pretty good looking, right? That looks like a dangerous weapon. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Well, we're going to put this back together. Tomorrow, we'll go out on the range and we're going to sight it in and we'll see what kind of groups we can hold with it now on a bag versus what we did yesterday with the same, or did today with the ammo and iron sights. We wandered all over. I have a feeling this is going to tighten things up quite a bit. All right. We'll see you tomorrow in the daylight. We'll give this thing a run. Hi there, folks, and welcome back. In the video, it said I'd be back tomorrow. Well, the weather didn't turn out favorable for me. To be honest with you, it's been about 2 weeks now, I believe. Maybe a week and a half. Anyway, we're back out here with the Heritage Rough Rider 22 cal or 22 mag, depending on which cylinder you put in it. I got 22 long rifle cylinder in it that we put a red dot. Now this is a Feyachi, I think it's a Feyachi red dot. Anyway, I'll leave the description below as to what red dot I put on here. I tried to use the, I think in the beginning of the video I was going to use a Bushnell. Fortunately, I ordered the Bushnell and this one at the same time. The Bushnell, something was off. Something was bad off on that. When you put it on here and look through the center, the red dot was way off to the right. The red dot wasn't in the center of the optics here. So something was messed up, so I returned it. I've got a Bushnell on another one. Works just fine. I don't know if something just happened, damaged, returned, whatever happened. I have no idea. But we have this one on here. We've got it sighted in. I'm going to shoot some groups here at 10 yards and at 20 yards, and we're going to take a look at it and see how well it performs. The ammo I'm using is a CCI Standard Velocity 22 long rifle. Now this is a 40 grain bullet that travels, it says here, 1,070 feet per second. So far, these Heritage Rough Riders and the carbine, one they call the Rancher, I think, the 1,070 feet per second bullet seems to shoot the tightest group. Now, I don't know how you guys normally play around with your guns, but here's what I do. I shoot for center, and I watch where it groups. And depending on where that group is, no matter where that group is, and I'll try 4, 5, 6 different ammos. Now these, I can't reload myself, so I've got to find the best consistent quality bullet that's out there for a reasonable price, because here I am, I'm just shooting paper right now, right? And once I get the group, the size I want it to be, then I adjust the sight to bring it back to center. That's what I do with all the caliber rifles, whether it's long range rifles, short range, everything in between. And the other thing I like to do is, you'll see me doing here, I'm shooting off of a bag because I want to make sure that the gun is performing as expected, as far as I'm taking out as many variables as I can, because if I'm standing here holding it, I'm a huge variable. When I put it on a bag and I rest the rear on a pinch bag and the front on the barrel on another bag, pretty solid. whatever you're getting is what you're gonna get. Then when you start doing offhand shooting, when you start missing or start messing up, you know it's you and not the weapon. Anyway, that's the way I practice, that's the way I do it. So let's send a few downrange and let's take a look at how things look when we're done. I'm gonna shoot 6 rounds at the 10 yards, and I'm gonna shoot 6 rounds at the 20-yard target. And we'll take a look at how the group looks comparatively. And I'm gonna aim, keep in mind, I'm gonna aim in center for both of these. So I'm expecting the target that's further away, the bullets to hit a little high, because you got this angle that's coming together from your optics to your barrel coming together like this. And I think it's gonna keep going up a little bit because that crossover point is sighted in currently at 10 yards and not 20. Anyway, let's jump on it and let's see what it'll do. Okay, that was 6 at the 10 yards. Now we're gonna throw 6 down at the 20-yard target and take a look at what that looks like. Okay, now I'm gonna shoot a couple at the steel target, the big steel target at 20 yards and the little steel target at 20 yards. And I'll send 2 way down there in the distance. I think you can see it in the picture maybe. At 55 yards is another steel target. Pretty much a slam dunk at this distance. Let's go for the little guy. Now for the big one way down there. Hit it, hit it. That's actually nice. The red dot really works really well in this situation for sure. All right, now we're gonna do an offhand shooting. The 10-yard targets is only on the right. I'm gonna do an offhand shooting, no bags, just to see how well I can do that. We'll see. Put that one right in the red. Now I'll have to admit, I'm a little surprised with the results. Let's go down and take a look at each of the targets and I'll re-describe how I took each shot. Now this is also on the bag, same gun at 20 yards. As you can see, things start to spread out a little bit. Now keep in mind, some of this could be me. The gun I think performs pretty well, but this could have been me. But this is on the bag. But there again, I'm supporting it with the bag just to steady things out, but that's still not awful. I mean, we're inside. If I dialed that in, we'd be inside this 9 circle with all those shots. We were aiming at center. And obviously we hit the steel when we shot at it, which is great. Anyway, lots of fun, lots of fun. I'm really tickled with how this red dot turned out. Well guys, what can we say about that? This little Heritage Rough Rider with a 16-inch barrel is a lot of fun. And it seems to be pretty accurate. We got a muskrat down there in the pond. He almost bit it, but he's a little sneaky, a little sneakier than I was. Anyway, guys, get out there and have some fun. You can pick these Heritage Rough Riders up on the cheap. Quite frankly, for around $200, you can get a Heritage Rough Rider, you know, like a 6-inch or 9-inch barrel, for about $170 to $200. And for about another $30, you can buy the bugs out here. It's so warm today. For about another $30, you can go online and order a 22 mag barrel, a 22 mag cylinder that pops right in here, and you can shoot 22 magnums in the same gun. So 2 guns in 1, pretty nice. Anyway, this has been a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Got more videos similar to this coming up, along with other things I do around here. So you guys stay tuned. Get out there and have some fun. If it ain't broke, fix it till it is. And I'll see you on the next video. I'm out.